Welcome to Coffee and Conversation. My name is Honorine, and today I'm with Anairis de la Cruz Benito, who is pursuing a PhD in mathematics education. Anairis, welcome, and thank you for being with me today.
Hi, Honorine. Thank you so much for having me. I'm so glad to be and sharing this space with you.
Awesome. Let's start with a little introduction.
My name is Anairis de la Cruz Benito, and I'm from Mexico. I am an Indigenous student, and my first language is Amuzgo. I grew up in a small town speaking Amuzgo, and I learned Spanish at school. I started learning English in 2016 because I knew that I wanted to study abroad. A little bit about my background is I did my undergrad and my master's studies in Mexico in mathematics education, both of them. And when I finished my master studies, I didn't know the language, but during my master's school, I have the opportunity to do a research, like visit in University of Valencia in Spain, and that was a great opportunity because it opened my perspective, and I realized that I needed to learn English in order to continue with my education. So when I went back to Mexico in 2016, I started learning English, and it took me about 3 years to learn the language and be able to take the TOEFL test and can do application to Fulbright. Actually, nowadays, I'm doing my PhD in mathematics education here at Florida State University, and I'm a Fulbright scholar. It took like a couple of years to prepare myself to learn the language and get the score I needed to the application. And this is how I'm here now doing my PhD.
Awesome. So you said it's when you went to Spain that you realized you needed to learn English to continue your education. How come? Because you could have maybe stayed in Spain and pursue a PhD there, or I mean, there are tons of countries speaking Spanish. So what made you realize that you needed English to continue your education?
Yeah, that's a great question. I went to Spain specifically because people speak Spanish there, so I wasn't like in that like need of learning English. So when I was in Spain, I met someone from Germany, and this person, he was speaking little Spanish. He was speaking English most of the time. So when he was talking to me, he was like shocked when I said that I don't speak English, and he said, "Wait, you don't know English?" I said, "No, I don't know. That's why I came here to Spain because people speak Spanish here." And he said, I remember by that time I was doing my master studies and he was doing his PhD. So he told me, like, do you know that in order to get a PhD, you need to learn English? And I said, but I would like to come here to Spain. So, because I can speak my language. He said, it doesn't matter when you apply. Even if you want to come here to Spain, you still need to take the TOEFL and GRE test to do application to grad school. And I was like, oh, wow, I didn't know that. But that was like a really open eye because I also have another opportunity when the professor that I was doing the research with at University of Valencia, he gave me a book to read, like to discuss. We were meeting like weekly. And I was like really ashamed, like to tell him that I didn't know English. So I pretend that, oh, okay, I'll read the book and I take it like with me to my place. And then I was like translating literally because it was a physical book. And I was putting in the Google Translator and I was like, no, this is not happening. Like, there is no way I can read this book. So I just told him, like, oh, I don't know English, so I can't read this book. And those like two special, like specific situations make me like realize, oh, wait, like I need English to can communicate with other people and to can like do other things.
And what
So
was your motivation originally to pursue a graduate degree?
when I finished my master, I had the opportunity to work as a math teacher at a middle school. And that was my very first time, like being a teacher in front of the classroom, And I found out that I'm not prepared to be a teacher. Like it was a big challenge. And
Why?
I, oh, like all the theories I learned at school, like all I talk, I feel like no, 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 like I need more. So that was one thing. And I was thinking like I really need to prepare myself to be a better teacher. If I wanna like, like to have to feel good about myself and feel good what I'm giving to my students. And the other side is that when I was doing my master, I had the opportunity to write my thesis to graduate and also in undergrad. And so I started like getting involved with research and I really liked that part. And I was like, oh, this is wonderful, like teaching and also doing research. And I was like, is there a way I can do these two things at the same time? So I found out, oh, I really need to do a PhD. Like I'll be a better teacher, like I'll have more skills to do research, and probably I can find a job when I can be a professor and teach and also do research. I was like, this is my dream job. So that was the main thing that made me like to do like my PhD, to study my PhD. But on the other side, it's very important for me, like being indigenous. Sadly, we have like a harder time to have access to education. In Mexico, like this, there is a huge difference between the big cities and like small towns. For indigenous communities, like there are some of them, they don't even have electricity or internet. So it's such a big change. And I was like looking back and seeing how far I have come, like since I started for the beginning when I started my undergrad and realizing like now I finished my master. That was like 9 years, I think 9 years, 8 years ago. And I was like, oh, like this far and thinking about all that journey. And then I was reflecting myself and I was like, this is really possible. Like women, like we also can do things. Like we also have the ability to do it. Because I have to say that at the beginning, I didn't believe in myself. I didn't believe that I was able to finish my undergrad. Like it was really hard for me. And well, I did it. I was looking back and I was like, I don't know how I did it. But like this is an example that we can do it. Like I really want people to believe themselves that they have the ability to do it. Like if I do it, like they also can do it. And like this belief that we have in like small towns specifically and in Mexico and other countries. I know like this is the belief like women are born like are born to like serve men, like to be married, to have kids, and especially in these like small towns. This is like the only way we see, or like this is our destiny. Like we're just waiting like to grow up and then marry and have our family and have kids. And I was like, no, 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 this is not what I want. And I realized, oh, I didn't marry when I was younger. I was looking like I was 25 already, I think. And I was like, no, then like we can do more things. And I started like finding out and like exploring the world. Like when I went like to Spain, like when I was telling you, like this is was like really big, like open my mind. I felt like my perspective was like this small, but then it was like this. And I wanted like to communicate it and I wanted to share it with others, especially like with indigenous women. And so I want to like let them know like how many opportunities are out there and like they have the ability and the potential like to pursue grad school.
This is very inspiring. Let's
Yeah.
talk more about your research. What do you research exactly?
I'm in my third year of the PhD and I'm kind of at the beginning of writing my dissertation, but I've been interested and I haven't changed my mind and I hope I will not. I've been like interested about mathematical proof, which is about reasoning and justification and on how we solve problems in mathematics. This uh, thing called mathematical proof is the way we construct our argument or justification when we solve or when we prove something mathematically. Let's say an example is like proof the two triangles are similar and you are like giving some information. So then you start constructing your reasoning, like your argumentation on how you can get to the final result. So I'm interested in researching what are the experiences that preservice teachers have about this topic of mathematical proof, because this is a topic that, as many other topics, of course, that are very like crucial in mathematics, the reasoning and logic of how we came to resolve the things. It's something that we study across all levels in mathematics school, since elementary and middle school and high school, and we still like continue doing it in undergrad like courses. So that's why I really interested about this topic. And I have to say that I decided to research about this because I myself, when I was an undergrad student, like preparing to be a teacher, I have such a hard time doing like proof. Like every time I have a mathematical statement, I would say like, given this proof that uh, this is true. And it is always like so hard, like to come out with that argumentation or that construction. Like what knowledge, what previous knowledge do I need? How should I start? How should I put this together? How can I communicate it and convince others or my professor, whoever it is in my classroom, that this is how I reason it and this is how I ended up with this? Like all that process is very complex. And this is why I'm interested in this topic, and specifically with pre-service teacher.
It's interesting that you went for a topic that you struggled with. Usually people go for a topic that they are comfortable with and they want to know more about, but they understand, the main thing. And you went for the other way. It's like, I was struggling with this and I'm going to research more about this instead of avoiding it. I think it tells
Right.
a lot about yourself first. And it's a cool, it's a cool topic to pick.
Thank you, Honorine. Yeah, I'm really curious about what I'm gonna find out. Research about this.
So Hispanic Heritage Month is coming up, and I would like to know what makes you proud to be Hispanic.
What makes me proud to be Hispanic? That's a great question that I haven't think of. I I would say like, maybe the characteristic of like being Hispanic, we are like such like enthusiastic and happy people. And we always like see the good side of things. And we always like singing, like while we are like, let's say we're cleaning home, we put some like loud music to make ourselves happy, or like dancing. Even when we take shower, we're listening to music. Like this is very particular from Hispanic. We always do that. And we have such like a specific way, like when we greet people, when we see someone, we're just like so happy and then hug them and say, hey, it's so good to see you, how are you, how you doing? And we always like, I feel like that sense of collectivism,
Mhm.
like we all like feel that we support each other. I That's something that I don't feel like with other people, but I feel with my people, with the Hispanic people. When I'm with them, I just feel like I'm so supported, and I have them around me, and like they will help me when I need it. Like that sense, like that vibe. Um, and yeah, I'll say like those are some of the things that make me proud to be Hispanic.
And would you say that your Hispanic background is important to the pursuit of your graduate degree?
Absolutely, I think that because it is very sad, but there is a little number of Hispanic doing in higher education, doing grad school. When I look like in my, like in my program and other programs, I just find like one or two people, like Hispanic people, like doing grad school, and I I feel like for us, for Hispanic people being here, it's a reference, or it's like an invitation to others that these things are possible, like
Mhm.
we are capable of doing it too. And I feel like when other people see like, oh look, like they are Hispanic and they're doing this, so they start believing also like themselves that they can do it too. So I do think like it's important, like having Hispanic people like doing their grad school to just like show others that there's a way to do it too. to invite more and increase this number of students enrolled.
Well, thank you so much for your time, Anairis. It was great to know more about your inspiring journey and story.
Thank you so much, Anairis, for inviting me, for having me here. It was great sharing my experiences with you.